So, what happens within the chemistry of connection when those juicy, activating, feel good hormones, those trust creating hormones, diminish? When women say, I'm fine, I'm doing everything, but I don't feel like me. In this episode, Body Talk, old hurts live in the body. Welcome to Sacred Soul Sparks podcast, where devotion meets desire and the feminine awakens in her full magnetic power. I'm Michelle Cross, your guide for women reclaiming their sensuality, their voice, and their sacred union within. Each episode is a raw transmission from my soul to yours, inviting you to come home to the truth of who you are. Wild, soft, untamed, and deeply powerful. So let's dive in. This one is for the woman who's maybe a recovering control freak, a micromanager of everything and everyone, the one who prides herself on doing it all and secretly fears that if she softens, everything might fall apart. Or she may fall apart. Maybe you've ignored your body's whispers for too long, where you've lived in your head from the neck up, yet longs to feel that pulse between your thighs. Maybe you've been praised for your strength, but silently suffer alone. This is for the woman who knows in her bones that her body remembers things her mind can't yet speak. And so let's begin right there with the remembering. This is a topic I love, and my body reminds me when I forget. And why do I forget? Because I'm human. And this human experience can remind us of our divine nature too. So a few weeks ago for me, I injured my left wrist, the feminine hinge, if you like, and I was forced to stop. I had to allow my man to do everything for me. I had to receive. And perhaps more frightening than the pain or the lack of movement was the total surrender yet again, because the universe is always asking me to surrender. And at this particular time, I was not in my feminine flow. And so when the feminine hinge kind of fell off her hook, I couldn't bathe myself. I couldn't even pull my knickers up, so I didn't wear any. Because it wasn't about control, it was the day-to-day ease of just everything I do day to day. And that was my way of feeling safe. And I see so many women that are doing it all. They have this big energy and this big vision, and they're used to holding space for clients, for their children, for their teams, for systems, for their business. And their fear is if they soften, they will lose it or crumble. And that's especially in menopause. But eventually, the body becomes the messenger because the body doesn't lie. And so my injury came not from exertion, but from accumulation. It was an accumulation of stories, past ones, of tension, and also something quite ancient. And in that moment, it was my nervous system just maxed out. And so this was a brilliant protective shutdown because the body is so wise and she cannot process what she doesn't feel safe enough to feel. And so she numbs and she retreats and she quiets the signals to preserve the system, or she becomes very loud so that you listen. And in these states of long-term stress, your body produces cortisol, the stress hormone. And yes, it sharpens you, it helps you to perform, it pushes, it's that survival hormone. But over time, I shared the tiger story with you. It flattens you, it dulls you, it depletes you, and you just feel burnt out. And so the chemistry of connection, those oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, those feel-good hormones, they trust-creating hormones, they diminish too. And this is why women often say, I'm fine, but they don't feel anything. Or yes, I'm here, but actually they've checked out. Or complaining, I'm doing everything and I just don't feel like me. And so this kind of numbness and avoidance, it isn't weakness, it's the evidence of how well your body is protecting you. And for me, it was protecting me over a particular story around the feminine, because the left side of your body is the feminine. And my injury was just like my body saying, enough, let's reconnect to the feminine. I'm always connected to the feminine, but the story was around the feminine and the shadow side of the feminine. And so the wrist in your hands, because I couldn't move my hand because the wrist was strained, is about letting go. It's about movement and ease. And because I sprained this, it was kind of my own resistance to not wanting to go in a particular direction anymore. And it's about trusting that. Trust, I think, is a big one for women. And trust is my word for this year. So in a book I love, Louise Hay, the rest is about I handle all my experiences with wisdom, with love, and ease. And when I looked up other conditions, it's about trusting the process of life and that I am at peace. The wrists are about feeling overworked or stuck or difficulty in changing our minds or letting go of the pain or the stress or the fear that is binding you. And at this time, all of the signs were coming up from the universe for me to be taken a new direction. And I was speaking to my own personal coach at the time saying, I'm just really seeking grace and flow and ease and peace. And here it was after my injury. I was unable to grip anymore. I couldn't do anything. And I was allowing my husband to take the lead. And his word for this year is lead. So I need to trust him to lead me. And so my wrist, this quiet hinge of grace, if you like, refused to bend in the old way. And in doing so, really invited me to inquire deeper and to meet this new part of myself. And to meet that part that felt tense with the face of tenderness. And often the parts that we fear, is being held so gently. And yet the truth is, I love to surrender. When my husband takes lead, I mean, he looks after me, he looks after the house. He is phenomenal at taking care of me. But as a woman in leadership, it's the balance. And I have studied the body for decades through massage, yoga, through tantra, the somatics. So I know the truth that the body doesn't lie. And in this metaphysical anatomy, every symptom has a story. Every sensation is a signal, not from the mind, but from the field, from the etheric layers that hold all the imprints of what we could not process at the time. And the physical is usually the last place it comes into being for us to feel what has been ignored, numbed, avoided. And the physical conditions manifest what has been going on. So what you call pain might be a pattern. What you might call tightness might be a truth. What you call numb might be the nervous system saying, I've protected you for so long, but not now. You see, the trauma is not just the event, it's the disconnection that followed, the freezing, the fawning, the running away, the moment you left your body to survive what was too much to feel, but you didn't go back and listen, if you remember my tiger analogy. So you will hear the universe, God, Goddess, often stops me in my tracks to trust, to slow down, to allow, to receive the new pathway. And healing is not about getting back to how it was. For me, it's about arriving somewhere deeper than you've ever been. And this is where I invite women into the somatics, where they begin to tune into their feminine energy and create this safe space to feel again. And my course, She Rises, offers the somatic practices that release the suppressed emotions. And I share through the breath, through the sound, through the movements that literally awaken your feminine energy, Shakti, your primal sexual creative energy that releases the emotions that are suppressed within the body. And the emotions guide the body to communicate. So if we think about anger, our fists might clench, our jaw might tighten, we might lean forward. And fear is another one. We might yell, or our legs might want to move. And grief is really that holding of the breath and the tears and that pit in our stomach. And then you have excitement, which is smiling and dancing and jumping around. Our body shows us the emotions are the energy in motion, and they want you to move. All they desire is to move. And when they're not moved in the body, they become trapped, suppressed emotions. And it's like the body is saying, feel me, because the body wants you to heal me. In Tantra, your feminine energy is like this too. All Shakti truly desires is to move. Shakti means to be able, power, energy. And also another interpretation is she who cannot be contained. But the paradox is the human us, the mind, the ego, the parts we shut down from all the fears, do contain her. So if we were to look at some physical conditions, because I know people ask me this all the time, urinary tract issues are often when you are pissed off at someone very close to you, usually a partner. Neckache is that inflexibility or the refusal to see the other side, stubbornness. Lower back is fear of money. Your hips move you forward in life. Your knee is often pride and ego, that inability to bend. And so all the physical conditions have meaning. And it's about allowing the feelings to flow. So when I guide women, especially in my private mentorship spaces, we don't just deal with mindset. I will ask the conditions around any physical problems that they might have, what was happening around that time, a year or two before, because this is the history around it. This is her story. We begin with the energy because, like the body doesn't lie, and energy never lies. We go into the sensation. We allow the body to talk through the sensations. They guide us into embodiment, one breath at a time, with the breath that spirals not up and out, but down and in. As the breath comes in and down, this grounds us, and Shakti, your feminine energy, she begins to rise and clear the blocks. And this is where we learn to feel again, not the stories, but the signals. Maybe the way your womb tightens when your truth is silent. And this can come up like pain during sex. It's a huge key. It's another subject for another time. But it's the way your heart races when your boundaries have been crossed. Or the way your hips are aching when you're holding the history and the stories that isn't even yours. And this is why I say the issues are in the tissues. And I love this from the Bhagavad Gita, where it says yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Bhagavad Gita was set on a battlefield, and this really symbolizes the inner conflict and struggles of life. But it also represents the choices and the dilemmas that we face. Your body is not a battleground. You may resist your body, and you may even negatively talk about your body. But in Tantra, your body's the temple. And I liken the body to an instrument, and it's as if life has tightened the strings of our instruments, oh so tight, and some of us are playing out of tune. And what I love about somatic practices is they begin to fine-tune the instrument of you so you resonate in a more harmonious way. And so old hurts live in the body. When we enter this spiritual path and the awakening is remembering who we are, these practices begin to expand us. And this is where the ego may contract and try to give us a battleground, or where the ego wants us to stay small and limited and familiar with the stories of the mind, because we've been taught to take everything to our mind and analyze it. But Shakti, she wants to clear the energy channels. And this is what I love about offering Kundalini activations, because The intimacy blocks, the blocks within the body begin to clear. The sensations, the emotions, the feelings all rise as the body begins to unnumb. And this may include pain, because the pain that the body numbed during the original event comes up to be felt. And when the wound surfaces, the kindest process that you can offer yourself is to have an intentional practice to be present with whatever shows up. To commit to not run from it or stuff it down or ignore it, but to feel the sensations within the body. Connect to your breath and feel whatever is arising. And one way is to speak the sensations, where you allow your body to talk, where you might feel that my mouth is wet as I'm speaking, or that there is a fluttering in my belly that is kind of nervousness but excitement. But you see how I just analysed that rather than a wetness in my mouth, a fluttering in my belly. So this is a practice most have to learn, because women describe it in the mental realm, exactly like I did there about the fear and the excitement, because they're the same frequency. So the sensations are hot, cold, tingling, bubbling, versus I feel angry or frustrated or I'm scared. So you're allowing the sensations and the body part, and this creates space so the broken loops of energy begin to heal, and often way quicker. In a Kundalini activation, you go under this mental realm and things are just evolving. You're moving the body sometimes in this cathartic way that is uncontrollable, and it's just allowing the body wisdom and the old hurts that live there to talk. And the key with all of this is to breathe, to feel, to use sound, and you're surrendering and trusting the process. And the feelings surface and they pass through the body, and it's like a birthing process. And any woman who has experienced the birthing process will tell you that the more you resist, the more painful it is. And my own unnumbing was exceptionally painful as my whole body went out of alignment. I've never felt so much pain. So yes, it may be scary. Yes, your fingers may clench and your body spasm, but it's actually a good sign, because you're beginning to release the tight grip. And this is often technique, where the nervous system is relaxing and is seeking that release. So let me ask you something. Just feel right now, where in your body do you feel yourself, a sensation, a pulse? Maybe it's your jaw, back of your neck, your pelvis. Just begin to inhale into that sensation. Stay there. Then exhale and just take a few breaths, maybe inhaling into wherever you are feeling a sensation. And then exhale with a sound, an ah or a ah. Just stay with the breath. Maybe allow a movement. And can you feel the edges softening? Like when you exhale out your mouth, can you feel the softness in your jaw? And this is where we surrender into it And we rewire the safety with the breath, with the beat of your own heart, with the pulse. This is not something I read in a book. This is lived. This is the priestess work, the body work, the soul work I weave together. And when I guide women into these spaces, whether it be in my mentoring or podcasts like this, we're not fixing anything, we're feeling, we're remembering, we're creating freedom. And even when something breaks, literally, or like my wrist, she's trying to break you open to something more. So if you're walking through a season of symptoms or shutdown or ache or numbness, I want you to know you're not broken. You're being initiated. And so for now, place your hand somewhere on your body. Where is your body guiding you to touch her? And just listen. Let your body speak. Let your breath be the balm. And just listen. And if something sparked intrigue, or if you feel that you've been suffering with a particular condition, physical condition, then share with me. If something stirred within you today, share it with me. You can tag me on the socials and share this with another woman. Let the sparks ripple, and let's fine-tune the instrument of our bodies to resonate in new, enlightening ways. I'll see you next time.